I'll check it really fast. Yes. Okay. So, what we want to do, first of all, right? We know there's a spray pattern. It looks
left and right.
generally like that. It's almost always the same. So that means we're pulling down and to the left, and then to the right.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, you can figure that out on your own, and that's just going to take reps. So when I was talking to Nick and Nikita the other night, at least Nikita seemed he didn't really understand the difference in like spraying based on distance. So like if I spray someone that's this close to me, right, it's way easier to do the spray pattern than if I'm trying to spray someone that's like down there.
Yeah.
Which is why like if I do like a spray pattern into the wall, like it almost looks like perfect, right? Because it's just so easy. But then if I like back up and I try to do it, right, it's more scattered because it's so much harder to control it because the distance that you have to move the crosshair is so much further. There's more room for error. So when I start trying to spray someone who's like there, like I can't just move it like that much, right? Because it just starts shooting all up there, right? I have to be pulling down like, and even that's too much. So it's really like
Spraying part just is very difficult.
Well, I thought you were supposed to pull it down the same angle every time, no matter how it is. Like, it's the exact same motion. Like, in terms of distance on the screen. That's what I was reading.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's the same, like, basically you're going to get more.
You'll be more inaccurate, but the motion's the same, right?
Yeah, the motion is the same, but you will sort of like, you'll get more, if you're doing it wrong, right, then it's going to be more drastic. Yeah, it's going to be more wrong. So if you start spraying, you'll just never hit anyone if you do it incorrectly. Versus like I did it here, like I probably didn't do it perfectly right, but all the bullets end up in like the same spot. So, yeah. So the other thing is that when we're spraying, when you lose a spray, like, hold on, I'm gonna draw this line again, or this outline again. So, right, so this is the path, right? And the first shot, in theory, if I were to do my spray pattern 100% perfectly, which is not going to happen, but if I did do it 100% perfectly, all of my bullets would go to this exact spot. Right? Does that make sense? So,
I mean, there's no RNG.
I mean, there's a little bit of, like...
Not when you're not moving correctly.
There is first bullet inaccuracy. So yes, there is variance in your spray, but
First
that
bullet inaccuracy. Great.
yeah, that's not gonna like that shouldn't play into how you're spraying. So
You can't control it for that.
yeah, you can't control for that. So in theory, if there was no first bullet inaccuracy and I was aiming here for my first bullet and I do my spray perfectly, all my bullets should line up right there.
Wait. So the bullets after the first bullet are perfectly accurate?
I don't think so. I think there is a little bit of inaccuracy in every shot, potentially. I don't know how the logic works on it. But people just call it first bullet inaccuracy because that's when it's most noticeable.
Huh.
So, I don't know, you could probably look that up, but... Anyways, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, that means if you're aiming at someone whose head is right here, right? And we miss our first shot when we're trying to spray someone down, like, where do we can't shoot our first bullet here, which is above their head, and then do a perfect spray pattern in relationship to where our first shot was, right? So missing your first shot and then doing the spray pattern that corresponds to exactly this is incorrect.
You mean you have to adjust down more?
Yeah, you have to adjust down more because you have to compensate for how your first bullet missed.
Yeah.
So if I aim up here, oops, here, I'll go to this wall. If his head is like here, let's say, and I shoot here, then I need to adjust faster down, right? So that I can like hit him basically. And the only sorry, what?
What's the disadvantage to just like restarting?
There's a longer period of time between the accuracy of this shot versus the accuracy of that. Or like the time between this and pulling down properly is way faster than doing that.
And that's how long you have to wait.
It's about
hit the headshot every single time.
It's about this fast. Versus like that was 3 bullets. So like that's always faster.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was saying, so you never restart.
That is not true. That's what I was going to get to next. So, since we're not robots, we can't... Sometimes we're going to fuck up real bad, right? There's a video that I'm going to link after this that's nothing from Cloud9 was talking about this exact thing. But basically, like, sometimes when you spray, you'll lose it, right? Like, your timing's off. Like, if I start spraying and the pattern is like that, right, and like I just don't go to the right, then I lost the like entire spray, like basically at some point, right? Like I'll just... Does that make sense? Like, you're getting off of the path at some point if you mess up. So
you forgot where you were?
Yeah, basically. So in general, most people aren't spraying a whole clip in any situation. Like, there's not very many times where you interact with someone and you're doing this, right? Where you're like, oh yeah, got him. Because how many, like, how many bullets does it take to kill someone?
I clutched with that, dude. 1.
It takes, like, I think for the 8K, doesn't it take like 3 or something? Depending on, it depends where you hit them. It depends where you hit them. No, it doesn't.
Not with the AK?
No, there's no damage fall off.
Oh.
But there is for Deagle, correct?
I don't... Maybe there is damage fall off, I don't know.
There's damage fall off in the game, I know that. I don't know.
There is damage fall off in the game. I mean, there might be damage fall off, but I think that there's not a situation where you would really... I think the distance is very far. Like, it might be further than a game situation. Like, I don't think there's damage fall off from, like, here. But
I think if there was a headshot, no, there wouldn't be. Because it's going to be a kill either way. But I think that...
I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty sure there isn't damage fall off, at least in any, like, impactful way if you're always hitting them in, like, the body / head. But I could be wrong
I know
about
that
that.
definitely with the, like, the Glock, it's like super shitty fall off. Or with the USP.
USP doesn't have... I don't know about that, honestly. Like, I think that has more to do with just USPs dealing no damage to someone who has, like, body armor.
I mean, even in, like, I'm talking about Rebel. With pistols. If they've got body armor, sure. But, like, when I get them close up, they take significantly more damage than when they're far away.
I mean, but that could just be because you're hitting them in more... Like, it's a lot easier to hit someone... Basically, this game is really, like, sketchy, especially on, like, 60 tick rate servers, where, like, you might honestly think that you're hitting someone and you won't be hitting them. So, like, I think, especially when you're playing this position, when people are running by and you're shooting at them, like, you could legitimately just not be hitting them. Like, even if your crosshair was on them,
Nice shot, yeah.
because that's unfortunately just how the game works. And there's first bullet inaccuracy. But the fact that, like, if you one-shot headshot someone from back here, it does the same damage than if you one-shot headshot someone from, like, right here. Like, I'm pretty sure that that means that
I
fall
mean,
off.
we can confirm that right now if we want.
Yeah. I mean, we can look it up after. I don't know, honestly. Because, like, it does seem like there's damage fall off with, like, the Glock, but I don't know. Anyways, so the video that I was talking about, Nothing's talking about this, and he's talking about when you're trying to spray someone who's moving, it's especially easy to lose track of your spray because you're trying to, like, control a spray that's also going towards someone who's moving, so you have to move the spray. So there's going to be situations where, like, you could be trying to spray someone and they're going over there, right? And then at some point, like, depending on the range, like, you might literally never hit them. Like, if they're crossing from here to there or something, and I'm, like, trying to spray them down, like, I might lose it, right? It's nearly impossible for you to keep your spray controlled as you're moving it this way. So, instead of doing, like, and then just missing every bullet, it's better to do, like, spray, spray, right? Because these first shots of the spray are so much easier to control than the rest of the spray. And it also has to do with the fact that, like, most of the sprays for the guns that people use in the game are, like, do that at the very beginning. So people get better, like, muscle memory to do that specific pattern. Like when I was watching Pete last night, every time he sprays, he only does this. Like, he just... his sprays are this short, for the most part. And, I mean, it's a mostly good habit. Especially with the positions he plays, which are, like, usually mid. Where you don't have to... you're not usually in situations where you're, like, standing outside B-tons and their whole team is running at you and you're like, ah! So, anyways. So, when you lose your spray, which you want to try to identify quickly, right? Like, you should... eventually you should get accustomed to it where you're like, oh, I pulled down, like, way too fast right away, and then you can reset it, right? So... but that's just going to come with practice. And that comes with you guys actually doing, or trying to spray and use rifles and not scouts and ops and SG. So,
SG is a great spray.
Hogs are OP.
yeah.
You know, he's not too bad.
I think the spray for SG only changes after the first, like, 7 shots. But not that I'm making an argument for them.
It's also got a scope, so it's inherently better.
Well, it also does more damage.
Than
That-
the AK?
It does do more damage than the AK, yeah. But the AK does so much damage already, like, I
No,
mean,
because you can't headshot with the AUG.
yeah, you can.
You
No, no,
can't
no.
get a one-hit kill a headshot.
Yeah, but the AUG does less damage than...
You can't get a one-hit kill headshot with an M4 either.
No.
Nope.
Really?
No, the SG does more than the AUG.
Only T-side weapons one-shot headshot. T-side rifles.
Fucking ironic.
Well, it's that way on purpose because it's like a game balance decision.
If the fucking... Why would the terrorists have better gear?
They should do that for purple side and elite.
Oh my god. Every time you hit a minion, it dies. You can now headshot minions.
Is purple side inherently worse because Dragon controls?
I don't know. Was
It has something to do with the layout.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, does the compensation for missing your first shot make sense? Because that's the most important thing that I wanted people to understand.
Yeah, I understand that.
I think it's really just gonna be a practice thing for me because I understand how it works.
I sort of like knew